Now this fish here is called a Moorish Idol. It's one of the harder to keep marine fish. In the wild they're always found together. So keeping them in circumstances like this where there's a few of them is highly advisable. Now the male gets this beautiful whip along the top of its fin like this one, and I've seen these grow to several foot long in an aquarium, to the point where the fish goes down through a cave, come up around the other side and passes its own whip. Beautiful filaments coming off its dorsal fin. As I said, they are a hard fish to keep. The key is to get them feeding on spectrum. When you get them feeding on spectrum, you can get them doing quite well. And I also do not believe in buying these fish on their own. I do not find they go as well if you buy just one. So I'd be looking at buying 2 or more of this fish, because every time I've been diving and I've seen them together, there's always plenty of them sort of like interacting with each other like this, and I believe that that makes them feel comfortable. Whereas if there's only one in the tank, they fret because they're looking for where their mate is. That's also common of many butterflies. I see a lot of butterflies in the wild, generally in pairs. So it's worth considering what these fish do in the wild when you're actually trying to keep them. Now they're not really a coral eater. They've got a beak that makes them look like a coral eater. Never seen them eat coral. They do eat algae. They do tend to eat microorganisms amongst the algae. So they actually sometimes do better in tanks that aren't really clean. So if you do have plenty of growth on your live rock and so forth, these fish seem to do better because they are a plucker. They do go and look at the live rock very carefully with their little beady eyes and pluck any microorganisms that are in the live rock. So they do definitely do better in tanks with plenty of live rock, plenty of hiding places, and plenty of other Moorish idols. I've also seen them eat nori, but getting a nice fat one to begin with is the key. Don't go getting a skinny one, because it might take a while for this thing to settle in and start feeding, and you want it to at least have the body mass to be able to handle a bit of time without food. I also find that introducing these fish at slightly lower salinity tends to help reduce white spot, because from memory they're not a scaled fish, they're actually a skinned fish, which also makes them a little bit more susceptible to white spot. But yeah, well, if you're looking